today. Here's this very a short poem that I wrote when I was in Bombay. I lived in Bombay for 5 years, studying, doing my master's degree in English literature and philosophy. And I was in university hostel for some time, and later when I finished my first degree and wanted to do second degree in philosophy, I didn't have a place to stay. I finished my first degree from the university, and I had to move out from the hostel, and I didn't have a place to stay, so I kept on moving to different places, mostly spending 1 or 2 months at friend's house, and no place, no money. It was very difficult being there, but for me, I still needed to study and work. You know, I was constantly meeting with journalists and writers and poets and politicians, and going to universities and colleges to read poetry and find more support for Tibet in Bombay. And I learned a lot of things in Bombay, but there was no place to stay in Bombay, and it's a big population, very highly dense population. Bombay is 14 million population in just one city, and it's very expensive, can't afford any place. So I wrote this poem as a form of a proposal, to say, can you accommodate me? And this poem was written as a serious proposal to say, can I stay with you? And this was handwritten and presented to some of the very rich friends of mine. You know, there are some friends who used to have big houses and who have a lot of artifacts in their houses. Many times, many of them actually look like more like a museum than a house. So I used to sometimes when I very often go to their houses and stay and sit with them, and I used to think, wow, this is a very nice and big chair. Can I sell this so that I can support myself for 2 months? No, I kept on feeling, and I think the poet is always aware all the time, alert, watching things and finding things really funny in however difficult the situation is. The poet is always alert and aware and observing what's happening. So I wrote this poem. It says, space bar, a proposal. So here I'm saying, pull your ceiling halfway down and you can create a mezzanine for me. Your walls open into cupboards. Is there an empty shelf for me? Let me grow in your garden with your roses and prickly pears. I'll sleep under your bed and watch TV in the mirror. Do you have an ear on your balcony? I am singing from your window. Open your door. Let me in. I am resting at your doorstep. Call me when you are awake. Our tent on the roadside smoked in the snow. I mean, that's because I was born on a roadside because our parents used to work as a road construction labor in Kulu, Manali. And some of you old sponsors, you must have seen those. On your forehead, between your eyebrows, there is an R embossed. My teacher said. I scratched and scrubbed. On my forehead, I found a brush of red paint. Now, there is a story because when we were in school, we were told, you are a refugee. There is an R written. And we sincerely believed that there is an R, and as kids we used to think that there is an R, but we don't see. So I don't know how it came about among the kids. We used to do this. We used to rub the nail on our forehead like this, and all of us used to have a kind of a rash here, and we used to look at each other. Mine is bigger, mine is longer. I am born refugee. I am born refugee. I have 3 tongues. The one that sings is my mother tongue. Of course, I think many Tibetans who live in India sing more Hindi songs than Tibetans. The R on my forehead between my English and Hindi, the Tibetan tongue reads Rangzan. Freedom means Rangzan. So I begin with the conflict, the problem called refugee, and I define myself saying that this R is not refugee, it's Rangzan. I'm destined to be free. It rains in Dharamshala, it rains for 3 months. There's no stopping. In between, when there is a sunshine, it is the most beautiful scene. It is clean. Everything is clean. It's as if somebody has washed Dharamshala. It's beautiful. And from Dharamshala, you can see the last horizon, Pong Dame, and various other places. You can see that. Most wonderful. At the same time, being in Dharamshala when it's raining, it's just difficult for me. But I love the rain. But various other things that happen in Dharamshala, and this is one such thing. I live in Lower Dharamshala, in an old house which I rented. So this is a story of Dharamshala, my room in Dharamshala. So it says, when it rains in Dharamshala. When it rains in Dharamshala, raindrops wear boxing gloves. Thousands of them come crashing down and beat my room. Under its tin roof, my room cries from inside and wets my bed, my papers. Sometimes the clever rain comes from behind my room. The treacherous walls lift their heels and allow a small flood into my room. I sit on my island nation bed and watch my country in flood. Notes on freedom, memoirs of my prison days, letters from college friends, and Maggie noodles rise sprightly onto the surface, like a sudden recovery of a forgotten memory. 3 months of torture, monsoon in the needle-leaved pines, Himalaya rinsed clean, glistens in the evening sun. Until the rain calms down and stops beating my room, I need to console my tin room, who has been on duty from the British Raj. This room has sheltered many homeless people. Now, captured by mongooses and mice, lizards and spiders, and partly rented by me. A rented room for home is a humbling existence. My Kashmiri landlady, Kashmiris now, many of them live, they are now kind of refugees within India. My Kashmiri landlady at 8 cannot return home. So we often compete for beauty. Tibet or Kashmir. Every evening I return to my rented room. And this is the most difficult part and sad part, because you cannot return home to your mother. Every evening I return to my rented room. But I'm not going to die this way. There has got to be some way out of here. I cannot cry like my room. I have cried enough in prisons and in small moments of despair.
There has got to be some way out of here. I cannot cry. My room is wet enough.